What is commonly perceived as reality is, in fact, merely a fragment of a more intricate picture. The world perceived by our senses, the routine of daily life, and the seemingly unshakable boundaries and limitations, all these are elements of a meticulously constructed illusion, so convincing that its truth is rarely questioned. However, deep beneath accepted notions and established scientific dogmas lies knowledge of incredible power that, for some reason, has been hidden from humanity. This knowledge, once comprehended, can unlock potential far exceeding ordinary conceptions of what's possible. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth contain timeless wisdom, teachings rooted 36,000 years in the distant past. Carved in stone, they await those ready to reclaim their lost power. These are not mere ancient myths or metaphorical tales, but rather a detailed blueprint for mastering the very essence of existence. What if we were never meant to be trapped in an endless cycle of struggle, limitations, and doubt? What if there's access to an inner magic capable of transforming our surrounding reality? The time has come to uncover the truth that has been meticulously concealed. In the world around us, everything appears as an unshakable fortress. The solid ground beneath our feet, the familiar shapes of tangible objects, and even our own body, serving as our dwelling, seem immutable and undeniable. Yet this too is merely a part of the pervasive illusion. The ancient Emerald Tablets unveil a truth that the vast majority of people refuse to accept. A human being is not their physical body, not the stream of thoughts, not the name given at birth, and not even the vessel of the mind. Human essence is something immeasurably greater. Consciousness is the true self, an eternal awareness that has temporarily found refuge in a physical form, but is never bound by its constraints. From the earliest days of life, people are conditioned to believe in the limitations of flesh and bone, that the body is them, and that existence ceases with its demise. But Thoth's wise teachings expose this deception, designed to keep humanity in subjugation. Thoth likened the body to a vessel, an instrument granted by the universe for interacting with surrounding reality. Yet just as a cup holds water, but is not the water itself, the same holds true for humans. Consciousness is what gives form to the body, not the other way around. Within the modern scientific community, an understanding of truths known to ancient civilizations for millennia is emerging. Quantum physics, as the cutting edge of science, hypothesizes that the observer directly influences reality, and consciousness plays a key role in shaping the physical universe. Experimental data confirms that the behavior of subatomic particles changes depending on the presence or absence of an observer. If mere observation can transform the structure of reality, then this raises a fundamental question about the colossal power of the mind. Ancient texts, like the Emerald Tablets, proclaimed thousands of years ago that reality is not a fixed given in which humans are confined, but a dynamic process actively created by them in every moment. Recall moments of deep intuition when a sense of knowing arose that defied logical explanation, or instances when time seemed to slow down and thoughts appeared to influence unfolding events. These phenomena are not mere coincidences, but glimpses into the true nature of humanity, reminders that consciousness is not limited by the confines of the physical world. For generations, however, society has deprived people of this understanding, instilling the idea of humanity as weak and vulnerable beings, helplessly adrift on the waves of a chaotic world. The truth is, Humanity was never meant to be bound by these limitations. Knowledge of our true nature was deliberately concealed, distorted, and dismissed as myth, to keep us ignorant of our powerful strength. When a person realizes that their physical body is not the sole component of their existence, the natural question arises: what other aspects of reality have been hidden from their understanding? The sensation of being merely a body is just the initial step in a system of consciousness control. What follows is something even more insidious, a force that governs every action, every thought, and every belief an individual holds. Humanity has been led to believe that time is a straight line, relentlessly moving from the past, through the present, into the future. It's presented as something to constantly chase, something that perpetually slips away and must be competed against. Yet the truth is far more paradoxical. Time itself is merely an illusion, a meticulously constructed deception. From childhood, people are taught to perceive time as a linear process, an unstoppable march from past to future, precluding any possibility of return. The idea is instilled that every missed second is irrevocably lost, that one is bound by the limitations of their age, past decisions, and the uncertainty of what's to come. But this is a cunning lie, one of the most massive deceptions ever imposed upon the human mind. Ancient texts, such as the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, reveal that time does not move in a straight line. It is not something to be chased, nor a force that controls humanity. On the contrary, it is a powerful structure capable of bending, looping, and repeating cyclically, regardless of how we have been taught to perceive it. Once a person grasps this truth, their perception of reality undergoes irreversible changes. Narratives about time often trace the idea of cyclicity, similar to the natural rhythms that surround us. Just as the sun rises and sets, seasons change, and tides repeat their sequence, so too can time be perceived not as a straight line, but as an endless series of cycles. What if human life, accumulated experience, and even spiritual development adhere to this same principle? Is it possible that time is not merely a current in which we move, but rather an environment in which we exist, allowing us to navigate between moments as if moving from room to room? It is interesting to note that modern scientific research is beginning to corroborate ancient knowledge, particularly that transmitted by Thoth. Quantum mechanics, studying the world of elementary particles, hypothesizes the coexistence of past, present, and future. According to this view, time appears not as a river continuously flowing in one direction, but as a boundless ocean where any point is accessible at any moment. Experiments in particle physics also hint at this possibility. They show that events we consider past can be influenced by decisions made in the present, indicating a more flexible and mutable nature of time than we are accustomed to believing. Ancient wisdom deeply understood this truth, asserting that the relentless march of time remains unchanged, yet all existence undergoes transformations within its flow. If we accept that time has a cyclical nature, then the phenomenon of déjà vu appears not merely as a quirk of consciousness, but as a fleeting glimpse beyond ordinary perception. It's a moment when the veil of illusion temporarily lifts, and one senses a vague memory of something they perhaps weren't meant to know. If time does not adhere to linear progression, then notions of past lives take on a new dimension. They exist not in an irretrievable past, but unfold parallel to the present, remaining accessible to those who possess the key to understanding them. Delving into Thoth's teachings, it becomes evident that time is not a chain, but a powerful force that can be mastered, provided it is understood. The concealment of this knowledge had its reasons. Realizing that time is not a jailer would free humanity from the shackles of regret, the fear of aging, and the dread of the unknown. One would be able to see the world beyond the distractions of modern life and unlock their true potential. Ancient initiates who chose the path of secret knowledge possessed this understanding, while the rest of the world remained ignorant. They drew wisdom across many lifetimes, identified patterns in history, and used them to create their own reality. They understood that the future is not a predetermined event, but a space one enters and identifies with. However, it is precisely here that the greatest illusion lies. If time is not an insurmountable barrier, then death holds no power over humanity either. If consciousness can exist outside the bounds of time, what happens to it when the physical body ceases to exist? Society has for centuries instilled the notion of death as a final point, an abyss from which there is no return. But the wisdom contained in Thoth's teachings reveals a truth so profound and transformative that the very fear of death begins to gradually dissipate. The notion of an end to all existence is merely a skillful illusion, for death itself is nothing more than a transition from one state to another. Humanity has been taught that death is the absolute end, that after the body fails, a person's existence ceases, like a flame extinguished by a gust of wind, never to be rekindled. This deep-seated fear has had a colossal impact on everyone's life, whether they realized it or not. It dictated lifestyles, compelled people to avoid risks, and imposed numerous self-limitations. But this fear is based on a lie. The emerald tablets of Thoth reveal a truth so ancient and powerful that those who comprehended it were forever freed from the fear of death. Death is not an end, but merely a gateway, a kind of transition, not a final conclusion. The sense of self, that very eye that perceives the surrounding world and comprehends words, does not vanish with the demise of the physical body. It continues to exist, transforms, and transitions into another state. Thoth, the ancient sage, likened the dying process to a change in vibrational frequency. He spoke of the flame of life, an unquenchable energy that cannot be destroyed, only transformed. According to his teaching, the body is merely a temporary vessel, a container for consciousness, which becomes unnecessary after a certain period. However, consciousness itself, the true essence of a human being, continues its journey in other realms of existence. This is why, in ancient civilizations, death was perceived not as a definitive end, but as a transition to something greater. The ancient Egyptians, who revered Thoth as the god of wisdom and knowledge, believed in the soul's journey through the halls of Amenti, where the true essence of a person undergoes evaluation, purification, and rebirth. Even modern science is now finding confirmation for ancient knowledge. Numerous studies of near-death experiences reveal astonishing patterns. People report out-of-body experiences, profound awareness, and visions of other dimensions. They describe a continuity of existence that transcends the material world. The question of what happens after death has long occupied human minds. If non-existence were the absolute end, how would one explain the numerous accounts from people across different parts of the world, historical eras, and social strata, who describe experiences beyond the ordinary, and if consciousness is merely a product of brain? Activity, how does it continue to exist when the body ceases to function? The answer, perhaps, lies in realizing that a human is not just a physical body. The body is merely a tool, a biological mechanism allowing interaction with the material world. When the need for this tool falls away, one returns to a broader, all-encompassing consciousness that exists beyond the confines of time and space. This is what Thoth, the ancient Egyptian sage, spoke of when he wrote that a person is like a flame tethered to a mountain, but the flame itself is not the mountain. The physical body of a human is connected to the earth, but the inner fire, the spark of consciousness, belongs to the boundless cosmos. This knowledge was not concealed from the general public by accident. If humanity realized that death is not the end, the existing system of control and manipulation would collapse. The fear of death is a powerful lever, forcing people to comply, avoid risk, suppress doubts, and forego living a full life. This is precisely why history has been distorted and ancient knowledge forgotten. Those who have comprehended the nature of death understand that life itself is boundless. What awaits a person beyond the threshold of death? What mysteries are hidden behind the impenetrable veil? Ancient texts speak of worlds inaccessible to ordinary human perception, of realms where the soul continues its journey, preparing for a new embodiment in the material world. This refers to energy flows, the cycle of consciousness, and the mysterious process of transformation preceding rebirth. These sacred teachings, once accessible only to chosen initiates, were hidden from the general public, yet they did not vanish without a trace. He who seeks shall find, and he who knows the truth shall be freed from the shackles of fear. As soon as one realizes that death is merely a transition from one state to another great truth will be revealed. Life itself will appear in a different light. What we commonly perceive as reality will turn out to be merely a projection, a vibration to which our consciousness is attuned. Just as the physical body does not encompass the entirety of human essence, so too is the material world only a small part of the cosmos. There exists something deeper, invisible, holding the key to unlocking the true power of human consciousness. And this is precisely what the mysterious emerald tablets describe. What if everything we perceive as unshakable reality is, in fact, merely an illusion, woven from energy and vibrations? From childhood, we were taught to perceive the physical world as something absolute, external to us, something fixed and unchanging. However, the emerald tablets of Thoth reveal a truth so profound that it can overturn all our conceptions of the universe. Reality is not matter, it is frequency. Everything we see, touch, and feel is nothing but energy, vibrating at different levels, and the key to unlocking our true power lies in the ability to control our own frequency. Ancient teachings state that all existence, from the physical body to fleeting thoughts and profound emotions, is a complex interplay of vibrational patterns. The distinction between objects and phenomena lies solely in the frequency of their vibrations. This is why sound waves can shatter fragile glass. Certain emotional states impact physical health, and some places or people energize, while others, conversely, drain vitality. Humans are in constant interaction with these unseen forces, whether they realize it or not. Modern science is gradually confirming ancient knowledge. Quantum physics demonstrates that subatomic particles do not possess a fixed state until observed. At its core, everything is energy, vibrating and transforming under the influence of consciousness. This perfectly aligns with the assertions of Thoth, who lived millennia ago. all is formed by the breath of the Great One. Vibration is the key to all. He understood that perceived reality is not something immutable, but a continuous flow of energy shaped by consciousness. Each of us has likely encountered the phenomenon of vibrations in everyday life. Recall how sometimes, upon entering a room, you immediately sense a heavy atmosphere, even without exchanging a single word. Or, conversely, when near someone radiating peace and optimism, you instantly feel a sense of serenity. This is not imagination, but the interaction of energetic frequencies influencing each other. The same principle applies to thoughts and emotions. When in a state of fear, anxiety, or irritation, a person emits low frequencies and, like a magnet, attracts corresponding experiences. Conversely, by acting from a state of mental clarity, self-confidence, and inner peace, one begins to resonate with higher vibrations, which naturally leads to positive transformations in their life. This is why ancient mystics, sages, and initiates in esoteric schools actively practiced meditation, sound healing, and mantra chanting. These practices were not mere formal rituals, but effective methods for raising energetic frequencies and attuning consciousness to higher levels of perception. They spoke of the power of sacred sound, of the ability of specific words and tones to activate energetic centers in the body and mind. This valuable knowledge was not lost. It was merely buried beneath layers of distractions and false information, as if hidden in plain sight. However, it is crucial to realize an undeniable truth. Accessing this powerful force requires no one's permission. It is inherently present in every human being. The ability to raise one's own vibrations, transform personal frequency, and consequently shape individual reality. This is not an exclusive prerogative of the chosen, mystics, or spiritually gifted individuals. It is an inherent right granted to everyone at birth. And once one gains awareness and understanding of how to master this energy, they begin to notice how the universe itself responds to their inner changes. This is why Hermes Trismegistus, Thoth, emphasized the importance of consciously managing one's own vibration. He understood that by controlling one's inner energy, a person gains the ability to influence the surrounding world. This is not an act of blind faith or wishful thinking, but a fundamental principle of reality, an unseen force that governs all existence. And those who grasp this principle gain the ability to shape their lives in ways that most people find unimaginable. However, vibration does not exist in isolation. It functions within a system of universal equilibrium, a force that ensures all existence returns to a state of balance. Those who do not realize this are destined to live in chaos, constantly reacting to the fluctuations of the surrounding world. But those who learn to align their actions with this cosmic law will discover something extraordinary. They transition from passive reaction to active creation, mastering not only their own energy but reality itself. At the very heart of the Emerald Tablets lies a fundamental secret of the universe, the principle of equilibrium, a powerful force that dictates the course of the entire cosmos. All existence strives for harmony and balance, from the relentless cycles of nature and the changing eras on planets to the rise and fall of civilizations. Nothing remains in chaos forever, for the universe tirelessly strives to restore order. Yet how often do people feel trapped by imbalance, oscillating between extremes and unable to find inner peace? The Emerald Tablets of Thoth reveal that equilibrium is not merely an abstract concept, but an immutable universal law, a force as real as gravity and as powerful as time itself. It governs all existence, from the movement of celestial bodies to the circulation of energy within the human body. Understanding this principle allows one to cease the futile struggle with reality and begin to move in unison with it. Thoth spoke of the principle of equilibrium as an unshakable law, guaranteeing the return of all existence to harmony. This is why emotional turmoil, destructive actions, and chaotic thoughts eventually collapse under the weight of their own burden. A mind consumed by fear and anger eventually exhausts itself and falls silent. A society steeped in greed and corruption inevitably collapses, returning to a state of order. Those who do not grasp this principle futilely resist it, attempting to bend reality to their will. But those who have mastered it move in perfect harmony with the flow of the universe, using this knowledge to create their own destiny. In ancient times, the wisdom of equilibrium was valued far more highly than in modern civilization. The philosophical concept of yin and yang, the teaching of Maat in ancient Egypt, and the Hermetic principle of polarity, all these ancient teachings underscore the same undeniable truth. Opposites are not enemies, but two complementary parts of a single whole: light and darkness, expansion and contraction, order and chaos. These forces should not be in antagonism. Rather, they exist in harmony, where each gives meaning to the existence of the other. Modern society, however, teaches people to resist this natural order, to reject discomfort, to fear struggle, and to believe that well-being is something external, requiring constant pursuit. But ancient knowledge, such as Thoth's teachings, reveals a different perspective. True mastery is achieved not by avoiding imbalance, but by learning to manage it. Everyone has likely encountered this phenomenon, even without realizing it. Recall moments when, consumed by stress or disappointment, a turning point suddenly arrived, when the mind quieted and clarity emerged from chaos. This was the restoration of balance. Or remember moments of deep joy that unexpectedly followed periods of hardship. This too is a manifestation of equilibrium in action. Such cycles unfold in all aspects of human existence, from personal thoughts to global historical events. And when one learns to recognize these patterns, they will cease to be their unwitting victim, gaining the ability to control their own life. The secret of transformation lies in managing one's own energy. For like the universe striving for harmony, human consciousness also seeks equilibrium. Ancient sages taught that those who mastered the art of stabilizing their inner world gained power over surrounding reality. This is why monks, thinkers, and mystics for centuries sought solitude and silence. For a balanced mind is impervious to external manipulations when a person stops reacting impulsively to external stimuli, avoids emotional extremes, and learns to maintain inner stability despite turbulent surrounding circumstances. They become invulnerable. However, equilibrium is not just an internal state. It permeates all aspects of life, every action, and every message sent into the world. If one acts from a sense of desperation, forcefully striving for results, maniacally pursuing success, and trying to subjugate circumstances, they will inevitably encounter resistance. But when movements are dictated by inner calm and trust in the natural course of events, everything begins to fall into place effortlessly. Surely everyone is familiar with that feeling when everything goes smoothly, when the right opportunities arise, and life unfolds with ease and grace. This is not mere luck. It is equilibrium in action. People who have grasped the profound meaning of universal law renounce violence and coercion, preferring harmonious interaction with the surrounding world. They do not strive to swim against the current, but find their way within the flow of life. For them, equilibrium is not just a random occurrence, but an art requiring cultivation, management, and direction. Those who have perfectly mastered this law gain an inexhaustible source of power. They seem to wander between worlds, unbound by extremes, with a grace and confidence that inspires admiration. However, equilibrium is merely the foundation, preparing for the next revelation, for a deeper secret concealed within the emerald tablets. Once a person learns to stabilize their energy and comprehends the rhythm of the universe, they will be ready to unveil the forces that shape existence itself, the invisible rulers of reality who have observed, guided, and influenced humanity since time immemorial. These beings are known as the Lords of Nine, and their revelations can overturn all perceptions of the world. Beyond the illusions of time, beyond the veil of life and death, beyond the limits of human perception, exist forces so ancient and powerful that they shape the very fabric of reality. We have been led to believe that existence is random, that the universe is chaotic, and that life is meaningless. The emerald tablets of Thoth, however, reveal an entirely different picture. Reality is not unmanaged. It is observed, guided, and sustained by beings of immense power, the Lords of Nine. These are entities whose grandeur far transcends myths and religious concepts. They are cosmic architects, universal guardians, whose dominion extends over energy flows, temporal cycles, and the evolution of consciousness. Thoth depicted them not as distant celestial beings, but as forces actively interacting with those who seek profound knowledge. He spoke of their ancient origins and unfathomable nature, of their existence long before the emergence of humanity and the formation of stars. Each of the nine governs specific aspects of the universe, wielding powers inaccessible to most human understanding. While they do not directly interfere in human affairs, their presence is felt every minute within the fabric of reality. Their purpose is to maintain balance, oversee the proper progression of cycles, and preserve the great cosmic order. They stand above laws created by humans, yet they themselves are subject to the laws of the cosmos. Echoes of the nine can be found in various mythologies, religions, and sacred teachings throughout history. The nine muses of ancient Greece, the nine gods of Egyptian cosmology, the Ennead, the nine unknown men of Indian legends, all are but fragmented memories of a deeper truth. Even in the modern world, secret societies and esoteric groups strive to preserve knowledge of these entities, recognizing that those who attune to the energies of the Lords of Nine gain access to power beyond human comprehension. What then does all this mean for each of us? If we concede that these entities truly exist and closely observe the flow of existence, the key question is not whether they interfere in our reality, but how it is possible to attune to their universal wisdom. The nine are referred to as guardians standing at the threshold of higher dimensions of consciousness, and it is emphasized that those seeking spiritual awakening must earn the right to this revelation. This is precisely why, in ancient mystery schools, candidates underwent rigorous trials, and only the most resilient minds were granted access to profound knowledge. It is not about concealing knowledge per se, but about ensuring that only a prepared mind can wield it responsibly. Herein lies the profound reason for the spiritual impoverishment of modern society. People are instilled with a sense of their own insignificance, made to believe in the randomness of consciousness and the absence of a higher order in the universe. For if the truth were revealed, if it were understood that reality is not a prison, but a field for interaction, creation, and influence, then control over the masses would become impossible. Those who have grasped the teachings of the Nine live by different laws than the rest of humanity. They do not perceive insurmountable obstacles, but move through life with an awareness of their unbreakable connection to the forces governing the cosmos, understanding that they are an integral part of them. A certain author posited the possibility of establishing a connection with the Lords of Nine, emphasizing that their influence is palpable for those who strive for higher levels of consciousness. He presented methods for harmonizing vibrations and expanding consciousness, necessary for perceiving their wisdom. It was explained why certain symbols, acoustic vibrations, and geometric forms have for millennia served as keys and tools for expanding the boundaries of perception beyond the material world. The flower of life, sacred geometry etched into ancient temple complexes, and resonant frequencies discovered in old hymns were regarded as surviving fragments of vast knowledge, serving as signposts for those seeking spiritual enlightenment. However, this path is not for those seeking easy solutions or adopting a passive stance, but for those ready to transcend familiar boundaries, cast aside fears, and realize that true power is acquired, not bestowed from without. Once an individual achieves harmony with universal laws and moves beyond the illusions imposed by the surrounding world, the next revelation unfolds. Reality is not static. It is dynamic and shaped by sound, frequency, and the power of the word. The very energy that birthed the universe can be mastered by those who grasp its essence. This constitutes the next great secret of the Emerald Tablets, the understanding of how sound is the foundation of existence. It was no coincidence that ancient civilizations imbued spoken words, sacred chants, and sounds with special meaning. This was not merely beautiful poetry or a part of rituals, but a reflection of a profound understanding of the world's structure, an understanding nearly lost to modern society. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth draw back the veil on one of the most potent mysteries. Sound is not merely air vibrations, but a powerful force capable of shaping reality itself. Every uttered word, every expressed thought, every sound permeating the fabric of existence carries within it the energy of creation, change, and influence on the surrounding world. Thoth, like the initiates of ancient mystery schools, grasped this truth. He urged, sing the song of freedom, create elevated vibrations that will help you feel unity with the universe. This is not merely a beautiful image, but a practical guide to action. The universe itself is built upon frequencies, representing a grand interplay of energies, oscillating at different speeds and forming what we perceive as the material world. If one looks at the fundamental level of reality, seemingly solid matter turns out to be merely vibrating energy fields, in constant motion and subject to unseen forces. And one of the most potent among these forces is sound. Certain sound frequencies impact humans at a level surpassing conscious perception. This is why music can induce emotional uplift, while other sounds might provoke a feeling of discomfort. Ancient chants and mantras were used in various cultures not due to superstition, but because of their ability to attune the body and mind to specific vibrational states. According to the Emerald Tablets, sound, when used with specific intent, can align an individual with higher frequencies, liberating them from mental and physical limitations. This key to understanding long remained unnoticed. Modern science is gradually uncovering knowledge known to Thoth in antiquity. Cymatics, the science of visible sound vibrations, demonstrates that sound waves affect matter in a precise and predictable manner. When frequencies pass through water or sand, geometric patterns emerge, forming structures that reflect the sacred geometry found in ancient temples and holy texts. This is not a mere coincidence, but evidence of a profound truth. Sound is the architect of reality. Vibration gives structure to the formless. If sound possesses the ability to shape matter, then what influence do the words a person speaks and the thoughts they voice have? Every sound that leaves your lips is not merely a chaotic jumble of noises, but a powerful impulse, a command sent into the universe, causing a wave of disturbance in the energetic fabric of creation. This is precisely why ancient scriptures so persistently warn against a careless attitude towards words, explaining why affirmations and magical incantations have long been employed to materialize desires, and why silence is so highly valued in esoteric teachings. For words are concentrated energy, and those who have grasped their nature can direct this force to shape their own destiny. This knowledge was carefully guarded, intentionally distorted under the guise of superstition, and ultimately consigned to oblivion. The reason is simple. If humanity fully realized the colossal creative power inherent in sound, the accustomed order of society would undergo radical changes. Consider, if each of us understood that our words influence not only our consciousness, but the very structure of reality, would we speak as we did before? Would we allow the voices of fear, insecurity, and self-limitation to dictate our life's path? Instead, we would begin to consciously manage our vibration, attuning our voice in unison with creative frequencies. The teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, known as Thoth, state that those who master the art of controlling sound will unlock abilities beyond conventional understanding of what is possible, from materializing desires and healing to the transformation of consciousness itself. The first step on this path is a deep understanding of how frequency interacts with our surrounding reality. From ancient times, the most profound revelations of wisdom were transmitted not through written signs, but through the spoken word. Divine names, sacred recitations, and vibrational codes hidden in ancient languages carried an energy far beyond simple meaning. This is precisely why modern speech has lost its original power. The flow of information inundates individuals with an avalanche of meaningless words. Attention is dispersed by countless distractions, and the most potent expressions turn into hackneyed clichés and empty appeals. When words lose their essence, they lose their ability to transform reality. However, those who retain the memory, who realize that sound is more than just a means of communication, are capable of reclaiming this lost power. Yet sound itself is only part of the puzzle, one element within a profound system of knowledge governing creation. The Emerald Tablets not only draw back the veil of mystery, but also provide the key to unlocking the dormant powers within each person. If the reader has reached these lines, it means they are ready for the next stage, to grasp the process of acquiring profound knowledge, to embark on the path of inner perfection that seekers of truth have walked for millennia. For the highest truth states, ancient knowledge has not vanished. It has always been present, awaiting those ready to receive it. The vast majority of people will never discover profound knowledge, not due to its inaccessibility, but because of an ingrained habit of not seeking it. The surrounding world is cleverly designed to distract attention, filling the mind with mundane concerns and silencing the quiet voice of ancient truth that has always been present within it. However, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth assert that knowledge is not bestowed as a gift, but earned through diligent effort. The path to self-improvement is not coincidental or meant for those who simply wish for it. It must be earned, and only those ready to overcome the illusions of the material world will be able to grasp its true depth. Thoth created the Emerald Tablets not for the general public, but for seekers of truth, for those who sense the existence of something greater beyond ordinary perception. He understood that knowledge without wisdom is dangerous, and power without understanding leads to destruction. This is why the teachings were encrypted, clothed in symbols, and hidden in myths and legends, not to conceal them, but to ensure that only the worthy would find them. For mastery is not just information, it is a profound personal transformation. The first step on this path is realizing the unbreakable connection between oneself and the surrounding world. What is sought is not in temples, books, or other people, but within oneself, awaiting discovery. Great sages and initiates possessed nothing that ordinary people do not. They merely knew how to access the power dormant within everyone. The question is not the presence of this power, but the readiness to awaken it. The ancient texts of the Emerald Tablets mention the mysterious halls of Amenti, a sacred abode where spirits undergo metamorphosis, preparing for a new incarnation in the material world. The author of these lines envisioned Amenti as a